Morning, people. New week, new world order, chaos in Europe, NATO alliance over, as far as America is concerned. What a weekend, folks, huh? Trump's decided that him and Putin are going to carve up Ukraine. The Ukrainians are getting nae saying it. Europe's getting nae saying it. J.D. Vance in Europe, absolutely slating everybody here, making it clear America won't stand up for Europe and its NATO allies. And, of course, ignoring the German Chancellor, Donald Trump, at the EU Security Summit, and going to visit the head of Germany's extreme right-wing fascist party ahead of the German elections. Wow, it's an interesting world we've moved into. Now, as you know, as far as I'm concerned, the way to bring this guy down is to boycott and divest. The governments are not going to sanction, but we, the people, can boycott and divest. Anyway, let's go on with this show now that Facebook's on board. Good morning, Gingers. My Christ, America isn't half kicking up a shit show. Right, Indy Truck Davy on this Monday, the 17th of the 2nd, 2025. I'm out the truck and I'm coming to you today, as I always do these days, from my office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is 2 degrees, snow flurries. Keep the snow flurries in mind for when we get to the Daily Star today. Brilliant. Great stuff. Okay, let's get into the newspapers, shall we? First up this morning is the Scotsman, and it tells us, I'll put it up, the Scotsman tells us victims wait 3 years for justice in court backlog. Legal expert warns efforts to drive down delays are too slow. Well, everything else is going to do with money, but this isn't Scotland the only problem. We also have a meltdown in England and Wales when it comes to the legal system. After the pandemic and the backlog, there's been no additional funding really, or sufficient funding to clear this backlog. And there's only so many courts, there's only so many lawyers, there's only so many days a month in which the courts are open. So this isn't just a Scotland-wide problem. This is a UK-wide problem. And we'll get Starmer plans to bridge gap between Trump and Europe. It's not easy. Starmer plans. I heard that. Right. We'll stop sharing that. Take it down. Let's move on. And the Herald says, I'll put it up. A wee pause there, a wee pregnant pause just to keep you interested. This one's quite interesting, actually. And anger at the obscene hike in bonuses at Scottish Water. Pay for bosses blasted as staff in dispute. And bills on the rise. What's interesting about that headline is anger at obscene hikes and bonuses at Scottish Water. That doesn't happen. It's a public body. And the government sets the wages. And their peer review bodies do that. Now, as to anger at obscene hikes and bonuses, and as for the price of water going up, well, it hasn't moved in about 10 years, the price of water. It does need to go up. There's infrastructure that needs replaced. In fact, it's being replaced in Glasgow right now, as we know, because they shut the valve in one pipe to do some work and blew out a whole area's worth of infrastructure. Seeing houses go without fresh water and running water for 4 days. So investment is needed in Scottish water. But I don't know about any anger. Don't know about any anger. Yep, there is an industrial dispute going on. But that's about paying conditions for the workers within Scottish water. And that's a matter for the trade unions and their bosses, who apparently have had obscene hikes, which is highly bloody unlikely, as those hikes would have been set by the government. Okay, let's take that one down. Next up's their answered, and as you know, I don't put their answered up, and it's got a crime story. Angel of death nurse must be freed. Professor believes evidence against caged Colin Norrie did not stack up. He says 4 OAPs in hospital may have died of natural causes. Now, I don't know anything about the case, but it's got a ring of Lucy Ledbetter to it, is it no? Right, the next one up is the scum, and as you know, I don't put the scum up either. 15 billion aid lunacy. As Putin threat grows, Chancellor dithers on extra pound signs for defence, yet we blow we blow billions on crazy projects like shrimp farms in Bangladesh. It's prawn crackers. So apparently, we have to cut the foreign aid budget and throw the money into defence. It might come to that. Right, the Daily Fail has. Let's put it up. Where do we fail? That's the other loony rag. Oh, it would appear I don't have the fail. That's unusual. Anyway, the Daily Fail has. Europe in turmoil. Starmer flies into storm. Anger as PM rejects calls for urgent boost to defence spending ahead of crisis summit in Paris today. And a showdown with Trump, apparently. So, apparently, we've no money to invest in defence, folks. So, not great as the world goes on fire. And Trump appears to be a Putin ally as opposed to ally to his Western allies. And as we know, the NATO alliance is 40 bits, folks. I mean, let's face it, Greenland, part of Denmark, under threat to Trump. Where was NATO promising to stand up for its ally? Trump threatened Canada, who's a NATO member. Where was the rest of NATO standing up for its ally? Trump's made it clear America's not interested in the NATO alliance and coming to the aid of other NATO countries, which is part of the NATO agreement. So things are falling to bits. The world order as we know it is being disrupted. There's many theories about why he's doing it. And one of them is the Austrian chaos theory when it comes to economics. Tear down the existing structures and new and dynamic structures will come out the other end and better things will come out the other end. Of course, there's no proof for this theory. But that's one of the speculations. The other loony rag, the Express, that's a cracker. I'll put this one up this morning. This really is a cracker. The Daily Express has leap in calls to mental health helpline after Labour's inheritance tax bombshell. Farmers driven to the brink of despair. Really? I mean, labour shortages, weather, all sorts of things, I would imagine, be weighing down in farmers' minds. This would just be another one. But as we're in economic freefall here, in the UK. It is no surprise that farmers are feeling the stress. None. Absolutely none. Okay, next up we have the I, and apparently Starmer is ready to put troops into Ukraine. So Starmer's thinking about putting boots in the ground in defiance of Trump, who, along with his ally Putin, looks set to carve up the Ukraine. Interesting. Apparently he's going to Paris today to convince other European allies that they should put boots in the ground in Ukraine as well. This is moving fast, folks. Really fast. But as we know, the UK doesn't have the capabilities militarily to put boots in the ground. We've seen the defence review. They don't have a battle group fit and ready to deploy. And if they were to put a battle group together to deploy, it would leave us defenceless here on these shores. Fascinating stuff. All those years of defence cuts and personnel reduction is coming back to bite them in the arse now. Right, the National has, we'll put it up because we always do. This one makes me smile. Tennant kicks off BAFTA in distinctly Scottish style. Very good. Scottish Labour criticised for taking cash from energy giant. Conference lounges backed by company behind plans for new gas-fired power station. Don't think so. But Labour can say what they want. They're not getting into power in Scotland. And Labour support imploding under Sarwar. SNP say more and more questions are being asked about weak and indecisive leadership after poll puts branch office on course for its worst Holyrood election results ever. And Pete Wishart says, what a soul-crushing life it must be if you're a Scottish Labour MP. Lobby fodder. That's all they are. Lobby fodder. But the imploding of Labour here in Scotland isn't just under Anna Sarwar. It's also directly affected by Starmer. And he's no popular either. No here, no in England, no in Wales, no in Northern Ireland. And that's allowing the extreme right of Nigel Farage and his company, Reform UK, come to the fore, in England especially, as an alternative. And will it be 4 years down that road, or 5 years down that road before the next election? Oof. I will. Oh, hold on. Sorry, when I said Starmer, I'm ready to put through to the boots on the ground. That was actually the Telegraph. The Times. Right, the eye has UK to join crisis talks on European defence as Ukraine is not invited to US-Russia summit. NATO alliance in tatters, as I've already said. Now, Zelensky's made it clear he's not agreeing to anything that Trump does. And he's not agreeing to any settlement where the Ukrainian people are not fully involved in the talks. So Trump can say and do what he wants, and him and Putin can try and carve up Ukraine all they want. If Zelensky tells them not to put the guns down, then there'll be no peace. Okay. And the Metro has rogue tactics amid talks of peace deal. Putin's war of fire and ice. Putin bombs power plants. Of course he does. He's trying to cripple Ukraine, bash them into submission. It's the middle of winter. It's bloody cold. Take out the power station. You're going to break the spirit of the people. Take out all the major infrastructure. You're going to break the spirit of the people. So, as for rogue tactics, nothing very rogue about it. Nothing. But, as I say, it's been an astonishing 3 weeks. Trump creating chaos in America and across the Western world as the world order, as we've known it for a very long time, breaks down. It's even got the grey man of UK politics, Dana Gordy Brown, and dusting himself off and coming out the crypt. John Majorswell jumped in this one and all. And he agrees that it looks like the world order is breaking down. And as I say, the way to hit Trump, unfortunately, is going to hurt the American people as well. And that is to boycott and divest because our governments won't sanction. The EU might sanction and fight back with tariffs and things like that. But the UK has cut itself free. It's friendless. It's marketless. And it's wandering about the world like a headless chicken. So, we don't have the option of our government sanctioning the United States. But we, the people, we can do something about it. Because if we boycott and divest from US assets, it'll belong to the people in America who will be feeling the pain to put Trump in his place. And in 2026, we could see the Democrats take over the Senate and the House. And that would put an end to Trump and his nonsense. Now, the states within America themselves are fighting back. 14 of them are suing the Trump administration for the unconstitutional move of creating Doge without going through the proper channels, meaning through Congress and through the Senate. And they are saying that Musk has been illegally given powers to run a savvy through government departments in the US. So the chaos within the US are trying to solve it. They're trying to point out through their court and legal system that what Trump and Musk are doing is unconstitutional. We'll see where that goes. Now, at the start of the show, I told you 2 degrees, snow flurries. So what's the Daily Star got for us today? Shall we have a look? Shall we? What's the Star got for us today? Here we go. Friday to hit 17 degrees. Here comes the sun. Well, I look forward to it. Because they say it's bloody cold here now. Snow flurries. But hey, you got to love a star. When all else is doom and gloom, the star always gives us a smile. I say, but things are serious right now, folks. And I say, we don't want to hurt the American people, but we're going to have to because it's them that's going to have to turn on Trump. So boycott and divest. Now, I did a video about how you do that last night, especially the divest thing. You've all got workplace pensions. Ensure that your pension pot isn't being invested in US arms sales, US tobacco companies, US oil companies, that sort of thing. That's how we divest. As for a boycott, that's dead simple. They say just don't buy American consumer goods and don't drink American popular drinks. We have alternative companies here making wonderful soft drinks. So we're going to put Trump back in his box. The best way to do it is to boycott and divest from American interests, American assets. They'll not belong in behaving themselves. He'll not belong in behaving himself. Right, that's it for the day, folks. Huh? That's it for today. First one of the week over with. Come on, Charlie, your claw stuck in my leg. What are you doing? That's better. No, just leave your claw in my trouser. Hey, that's it for the day. Back tomorrow. Starting new week started, and chaos has been let loose in the world. We live in interesting times, that's for sure. See you this afternoon at 4 o'clock, and tomorrow morning again for another one of these.